Let me lay out the scenario for you yesterday morning, Paul.
Okay.
Right, so we finished the podcast. We did it early because I had to go to the dentist. So we did it 8:30, something like that. Get it up, edited, posted before I left. It was great. Go to the dentist. I'm laying there, and they have CNBC on in the background, like up on one of the TVs on the wall. Actually, it's pretty high up because you're laying like and then you can actually see it. It's great, right?
Okay.
And so I'm laying there. Like usually my eyes are closed because I feel weird, like staring into
This
the
is just
soul.
you just had a checkup. This is like
Yeah. They're just scraping my gums, making me bleed. That sort of thing. It's a great service to pay for. Anyway, so I'm laying there and I hear breaking news: Microsoft just bought Bethesda for $7.5 billion, and I'm like, It's like no. This is. I need
you
to
have
be,
a hard time being disconnected.
Yeah, like I need to be home. This is
Sure.
just. I thought maybe for like 30 minutes I would just be off.
All right, now we're gonna do the mid show record scratch, and we're gonna go back to yesterday morning. We're gonna tell the story from Paul's perspective. So at approximately, actually I could look it up. Whatever time Brad was laying in a chair, I wasn't aware of that, but I did know he was going to the dentist. Brad texted me via Teams probably to tell me this, and I thought to myself, man, this is what it takes for me to get an Xbox story from Brad. He's got to be strapped to a chair with some guy drilling his teeth. It was like the only way he'll ever throw me a bone like this. So that was good.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, so that's sort of a monumental announcement.
Yeah, it's. I think this might be bigger than people realize.
Yeah, I mean, they went from 15 to now 23 studios in-house, which means the Xbox org is just large and in charge.
By the way, yeah, and there's so much that goes into that. Sony, I don't have the exact number. I think they have 14 game studios. So Microsoft surpassed them at some point, obviously, and now has not double, but half again as many. Also, from the perspective of the constant debate about Xbox, does it make sense for Microsoft, et cetera? There are those of us who believe that the cloud services stuff is kind of what makes it make sense going forward. Nothing says more about the seriousness of Microsoft, about this business, than spending $7 billion to acquire one game-making company. I mean, it's if regardless of your feelings about whether they should keep Microsoft's Xbox, spin it off, whatever. This is the kind of thing that shows you how serious they are. Also, TikTok or Bethesda, which would you rather have?
This one makes a lot more sense.
Yep. Thank you.
Because
Exactly.
the other thing, too, that they announced, which I'm going to do the math on this at some point. Just it's too early right now. They announced 15 million Game Pass subscribers. That was tossed into this announcement.
Right. Which, by the way, I completely lost in the shuffle. But yes, that's true. Up from 10 from not that long ago, right? When was that? I don't remember when the 10
was
figure.
earlier this year.
It was this year, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
But I bet you that they look at this from like multiple lenses. They look at like esports is becoming huge. They know that video game streaming, like people watching that content, is just going through the roof. Like it's growing incredibly fast. Obviously Mixer didn't pan out, but they don't want to be left out of that conversation. They obviously have Windows and all that. And I bet that they were sitting around going, okay, we have, we'll just say 10 million Game Pass subscribers, whatever number. And they said, how do we get that to 100?
Yeah.
Because if we get it to 100, spending all this money now makes a lot of sense, like a ton of sense. And so they said, well, let's just go buy some big studios. And they said, Bethesda's out there. We can spend approximately one Nokia on it. And I bet we can make more than, losing $2 billion on it.
Yeah, it's going to do better than that.
Oh, yeah, easily.
I wonder going forward what happens with exclusives. There are many interesting aspects to this because Bethesda actually has some exclusive contracts with Sony.
Yes.
Right. And Microsoft has said they're going to honor those, meaning that I assume what that means. Actually, I don't actually know, but I assume what that means is not that there are games that are exclusive to the PlayStation consoles, but rather that things appear first, like it happens with Call of Duty. So Sony has done a good job of kind of lapping that stuff up. So for this generation, there might be a couple of game releases or DLC updates or whatever it is that happens first at Sony. So Microsoft's going to adhere to that. Phil Spencer has said in the past that he thinks game exclusives are bad for the industry, and I agree with that 100%. But you could make a pretty good argument that games launch first or only through Xbox, and by Xbox I mean that very broadly. Xbox Game Pass, right? PC, and on console. And that is a strategic advantage that Microsoft has not tried to take advantage of since the early days of Halo or whatever, Gears of War, I guess. I mean, so I don't know. We'll see what that means. Just today, Halo 3 ODST came out on PC remastered form. It's available via Steam, as well as Microsoft's stuff, right? Game Pass and store. So I don't think restricting any games, no matter how good they are or lucrative they are, to just a console or just Microsoft's ecosystem necessarily makes sense, but you have to think they're looking at it,
Yeah, it really kind of solidifies the fact that they're going to become, I guess they are the Netflix of games, and they are going full headfirst down that path. They are buying up just about anything along the way that makes sense, and Here we are.
By the way, you might know, because I think you still have a Stadia subscription because you like flushing money down the toilet, but just one of the weird things about Stadia, I think, is that they don't really have anything in the way of exclusives, or certainly nothing in the way of major exclusives, right? Why would they? And I assume further that a lot of these Bethesda titles are probably available in there. I could picture Wolfenstein and whatever being on Stadia, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. So is it fair to say that is that true what I said, that Stadia...
So they do have some, I think, minor ones, and I think they've made some investments to eventually get some hopefully bigger named exclusives. But by buying Bethesda, Microsoft just kind of pulled the rug out from the access that Stadia has to these types of games.
This is interesting to me because Microsoft all of a sudden now owns the games that I cared the most about before Call of Duty. I mean, it's incredible. I don't even know what to make of this. I literally just played Quake the other day, which is an id Software, which is owned by Bethesda, right? id Software.
Which could be super interesting in their portfolio, because Quake is typically like a competitive shooter style game, and they could turn that into an esports thing if they wanted with a new launch. And
Doom's same thing. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the new Doom games, but they appear to be pretty popular, and there's obviously still ongoing concerns. I was a little surprised. The Fallout thing, to me, Fallout is some kind of a blockbuster success, but apparently the most recent game, which I think is Fallout 76, has had some, I don't know, technical issues or something, but people were kind of complaining about that. And I just get them on the Windows 10 update schedule. It'll be fine. You'll whatever's going on there, Microsoft is really good at pumping out updates. So anyway, this is big.
Because that wasn't enough news, they also are launching a new Android app that allows you to stream all your console games directly to your phone.
So I played with that last night, by the way. It crashed approximately 14 times in about 30 minutes.
Good.
I don't know if that's the node or the newness of the software, but I've done this before. I have streamed from my console to my phone, so I don't. There are at least 3 different apps in the store that do this for Microsoft. One of them, it's called Xbox Game Pass, I think, or Game Pass or Game Streaming or something, and one is called the thing they just released, just the Xbox app or whatever. I assume this is going to be the app going forward. It looks nice. It works, like in the sense whatever, but I played about 3 seconds, 3 minutes maybe, of Black Ops off my console on the phone using an Xbox controller. It didn't go well. I think I went 0 and 2 and called it quits. But a little bit of latency up in my bedroom from the downstairs, whatever. But yeah, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. So we've got that, and then they also announced 3 new controllers. Which, I mean, they're new, but not really new. But one of them's new, because that was clear as mud. They've got the black and white ones that they always ship, but they're the new version with the share button. And then here's the conspiracy theory. I don't know if you've seen this one, Paul. So there's the blue one, right?
Yeah.
They tweeted it out with some weird language, and they showed it off, and they said blue, and they said still iconic. So,
right.
If you take the first letter S and the last 4 letters of Onic, you get Sonic. And people are like, oh, they're going to buy Sega.
Wow, that is not the conspiracy theory I thought you were going to say, because I invented a conspiracy theory of my own, which is not much of a conspiracy, but that Microsoft made that blue to appeal to PlayStation fans.
Yeah, there's that one too. I personally like that blue. I think it looks great.
Still iconic.
Yeah.
And Sonic is blue.
Yeah. But here's the thing that kind of mucks all this up a little bit. Just personal opinion here. Is that acquisitions are locked down and kept in a vault of very small group of executives and lawyers who are actually going to do this stuff.
Yeah.
To pass that information along to the social media team doesn't feel genuine. Now, the difference could be that Microsoft, like Phil Spencer said, you know what, we're going to tweet this out, and then just nobody asks questions, and then it goes out. But yeah.
All right, obviously, I'm quite familiar with Sony's incredible legacy as a game maker, but what have they done for us lately? Like, what is Sony, or Sega rather, doing today?
I don't even know. Sonic is being the big one. What are Sega games?
So these games, man, it seems like Sega's biggest deal today would be on mobile, right? Because those old games would be awesome on mobile.
So I think their big draw would be where Microsoft has typically fallen hard, which would be like the Japanese style games.
Yep. And they still have new things coming out. This is an ongoing concern. I can't even think of anything from Sega.
Yeah, games.
From their heyday. Sega.
Sega games, all upcoming games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they're mostly like Japanese style titles. Something
that's tough. PC, PS, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC. Okay, well,
I have no idea if that's true or not, but that's There's the Tokyo Game Show is coming up soon, I think.
Yep.
And so who knows?
Hey, whatever. I mean, interesting.
Yep. And then also happening today, because there's not enough going on, which will be topics of discussion for tomorrow, because there's just a few things going on, is Ignite is happening, and it's streaming later. Well, by the time this is live, it'll be streaming probably like 45 minutes after this goes live.
Is that true?
Something like that.
Okay.
Doesn't it start streaming at 11?
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Somewhere around there.
We should probably get a handle on that, because obviously we have a... let's see what it says. Come on, Microsoft. Yeah, now program to begin at 8 a.m. PT, so 11 a.m. So stay tuned for if you're looking for the news from Ignite. 11 a.m. is going to be the time.
Yeah, and if you're not, first get your pre-order in of your Xbox, because if you're going to do that, like
that's the other thing that's happening today. Yeah. Right, exactly. So, and by the way, I'm not going to name names, but seriously, there's a PC maker that's having a holiday 2020 briefing today at 11 a.m. ET. And it's like, guys, you need to figure this. Every time there's a Microsoft conference, this happens. It's like, guys, there's important things happening today. And I'm sorry, but stuff you're going to announce 2 months from now is not of particular interest. Anyway, 11 a.m. is big today for everybody. 11 a.m. ET, I should say.
Yeah, 8 a.m. PT.
I think the 11 a.m. thing for Xbox is local. So if you're in Europe, you can already do this. This already happened.
Right? Yeah, and if you haven't, you're probably screwed. Sorry to be.
That's a good consideration. So, order Xbox and then go watch the Ignite keynote if that interests you.
There's nothing happens in the first 10 minutes anyways. Honestly, probably, depending on how they do it this year, it could be the first 30 minutes if it's a long vision thing.
Yep.
So. Okay. There we go. It's been Microsoft just ramming the news just continuously down the throat, which I don't have a problem with. I'd rather be too much content, but the problem is we're going to hit mid-October and we're going to be like, there's nothing. It's just going to be.
I just hope it's not like this next week, because I'm going to try to ride it light next week. We're going away, obviously, for my daughter's college thing, and if I could get a couple of days off in there, I would really like to do that.
Yeah, we'll see how we can screw that up.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll go back to the dentist.
I don't care who's calling. It's Brad. I don't care.
I appreciate that.